Hey guys, um, trying to come on here in the afternoon so I can visit with some of you lovelies that aren't night owls. Um, those of you that are friends with me on Facebook know that I got my job and I had to go today to do my drug test, and you have to be fingerprinted and all that. So I got that out of the way. And then I start my orientation on the 15th. Yeah. So the pay is a little less than I'm used to getting, but it's okay. It's better than what I'm getting now, right? And I mean, you can get raises, and you get shift diff, and you get extra pay for working on the weekends. And I think I get a sign on bonus. I forgot to ask her about that today. I think I get $1,000 sign on bonus. I'm not sure, which would be wonderful. Uh, but either way, it's still pretty good pay for, nowadays. And it's got really good benefits. So I'm just trying to keep very positive. Um, as y'all been on this little trip with me. I uh, I kind of wanted out of nursing. I'm kind of burnout. I'm a lot burnout on it. Uh, but to be honest, it's all I know, and I don't have a whole lot of years left before retirement. Well, I don't know. They keep raising that. Um, and while I'm on that subject, I heard, now I don't know how this could ever happen, but they're saying that by the time I reach retirement age, that there will be no more Social Security. I don't know. That could be just a horrible rumor, um, started by conspiracy theorists or whatever. I don't see how they could ever accomplish that without throwing the United States of America into a total tizzy. Um, a lot of people count on that. Not everybody has jobs that have a retirement plan. And not everybody makes enough money that they can pay bills and, you know, save money, open up their own little IRAs or savings account. I mean, most of us, it takes everything we have just to pay bills and live comfortably every day. So, that was another thing that was getting me down. It's like, man, I don't want to work two jobs anymore. I don't think I can work two jobs anymore. I barely handle one. I'm just getting older and my body's tired and worn out. And, um, nursing's hard. It's not, and depending on where you're at and where you're working and what position you have, um, it takes a toll. It takes a toll on your mind. It takes a toll on your body. Um, it's definitely a job that you would have to love to stay in. Um, I was working in it long before we were getting paid what we're worth, guys, I honestly remember working for $3.35 an hour, and you look back on that nowadays and you're like, of course, things weren't as expensive as they are now either, but still, even for back then, it was, I believe, minimum wage, and I just don't know how anybody ever lived on it. Um, I started getting that when I was a nurse's aide in training. Well, actually, we weren't even training; we were just nurses' aides. Yeah, we were. No, I started out. You didn't have to be certified, and then they decided that we all needed to be certified. So those of us that stayed in there and went through the testing and all that, then we got raised to $5.15 an hour. And man, I'm telling y'all, I thought I was just in the money. And then I went into assisted living and started passing medications, and they gave us a raise to $7.50 an hour. And man, yeah, I was really ecstatic then. And you think about it, I mean, nowadays, and they just a couple of years ago, especially any of you that work in the nursing homes know, your pay wasn't near what you were worth or what you had to put up with. Those places, I understand there's a need, but it's just, they're just, the residents aren't happy to be there, most of them, if they even know where they're at. You get hit, you get kicked, you get bit, punched. Um, I thought one was gonna tear off my boob one night. Man, she latched on to me, and I didn't think she was gonna turn loose without part of my anatomy in her hand. So, and that's just one of many, many, many um, in the in the field. Hey, Candid. Hope we don't lose SSI or SSDI. Yeah, I know. I don't think they were talking about that. I think they just were planning on targeting Social Security, like for your retirement. I don't know. I guess it could be, huh? I didn't even think about that. Oh man. Yeah, I guess that goes for anyone on Social Security, huh? Oh wow. That's what it just can't. I don't see how they could even do it. Um, there's just too many people, that have worked their butts off all their lives that, you know, are counting on that when they retire. And then, as you say, the ones with disabilities that don't have a choice, that count on it. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna come to fruition. I mean, I don't see it could how they could do it. It would cause a war a civil war like nobody's ever seen, I believe. I mean, I don't know, honestly. But you're right. Um, And just like insurance, guys, now, well, at the job, the last job I had, uh, the insurance was, I'm not going to name what it was because I don't want to get in trouble, but the insurance was really good insurance, but you paid out the butt for it too. They took out about $400 out of each one of my checks. I got paid twice a month, so that's uh, $800 a month for this insurance. Who Nobody can afford that, you know. We just can't afford that. And at one time, that I think that's the only thing Trump did that really ticked me off, was saying that you had to have insurance or you would get a uh, penalty on your taxes. I'm glad you're doing okay and glad to see you. Always miss your lives, however. I'm pretty good, Candid. Um, I start a new job on the 15th. And of course it's in nursing. But, it's a little different. This time I'm gonna be working in a psychiatric hospital. Um, it's a small one. It's not like, when I say that, it's not like what you would think. It's not like one of these big, huge asylums, you know, when you think psychiatric hospital. It's a smaller facility, and it's well, now when I worked there 17 years ago, it was a private psychiatric hospital. They may have done something different now. I don't know about all that. I do know, we had an adult unit, which is for the ones that come in that have addiction issues. Uh, then we have another unit for the MRs, um, which we have a school here, a huge campus, and I mean that employs a lot of people around this town. Because you've probably got uh, a good 300, maybe even four. I'm not even sure. Uh, Residents out there, and they all have you know anywhere from moderate to extremely severe mental disorders. Mentally retarded. They're not like disorders like a psych hospital. Um, but we get a lot of them at this psych hospital because, and the geriatric unit, the older people, because a lot of them get screwed up on their meds, or they'll get prescribed something that they have adverse reactions to or something like that. And we have to, they have to come to us, and we have to um, help them off that med or determine exactly what's wrong with them to get them back to normal. Um, and they've opened a juvenile unit. It's a whole building by itself, which I am not. I bet you anything, guys, they're going to put me in there. Um, I really don't want to work with kids. Congrats on your job. And did you consider making YouTube? Well, Candid, I mean, I don't know. At one time, it was an idea. Uh, you have to have thousands of subscribers, and um, I just kind of went into it like, okay, we'll see where it goes. I mean, I enjoy doing it. I don't have to make money off of it. It would be nice, I guess, if I could, devote all my time into YouTube. Um, I don't even know that I could think of that many things to talk about. Now, you know, I'm a witch channel, so um, really, there's only so many things you can talk about for so long about the. I might get a little check from them. That'd be great. Or if I could just get one of them little plaques, that would be neat. But it's not something, that I think I have to have. I mean, I usually have jobs and I make my money, so um, it's not like I count on it for income. Yes, it is. And I did a video. I don't know if you've watched any of my last several videos. I've been concentrating on that a lot lately because I have a few issues myself. I mean, I'm by far psychiatric material, but I have gone down a really dark, painful road in the last good 3 years. A lot has happened, and I thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown. And that's what I was telling you guys. Y'all just don't even understand how much y'all help me. You don't even know. I come on here as therapy. You know, I love being with my sisters and my brothers, having these conversations, and I like I like talking to people that are like me. So I don't know. Uh, I am gonna start doing some more, I guess, witchy videos per se. I do have a spell that I have invented um, that may help anybody else that could be, or having issues like I was having. Um, I don't know. We'll see. But I'd like to get to a place to where I can actually show y'all. And I really just don't have the room here where I'm staying right now. That's another thing. I'm, you know, there's still that naysayer in me, because of just so much has gone on. It's kind of hard to look forward to something or count on anything because, it seems like it always falls through, but I try really hard to keep positive, and it's not easy. But I think, if I can get back to work and I'm doing what I love every day again, and I'll feel more productive, and that helps us all, right? Um, a lot of times, if people can't do things, this is one thing we learn in nursing. When you're taking care of paraplegics or quadriplegics, um, and even the elderly, they get pretty depressed, and you kind of can't blame them. I mean, it's pretty easy to put yourself in their shoes and understand, why so and so threw her bowl of cereal at you this morning. If when you said good morning, how are you today? Whack. Okay, I guess I guess that means you're not doing too good today, huh, Mrs. So and so? And they'll do it, you know. But it's just those. I'm just, I don't think it's fixable. You can make them as comfortable as possible, but I mean, you got to think about it. They have left their homes for whatever reason they had to leave. They can't really make their own choices anymore. They've left the home that they've possibly been in for 50 years, raised their family in, was, shared with their husband that's no longer here, or vice versa, you know, they're going through a lot of end of life changes, you know. I don't mean end of life like that. I need to rephrase that. Like the next chapter towards the end of their lives. And it's, you have to keep that in your head when you're dealing with them, because if you do, then you'll understand why um, they're cranky as hell. I would be. I'm cranky as hell now, and I'm not in one. you know? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just part of life, guys. I mean, they went from having this maybe, this big, huge, beautiful home to one little side of a room with a little twin bed and a nightstand, you know? It's okay to not be okay. I've been working on giving myself permission to not be okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's okay to be optimistic and um, try really hard to look at the brighter side and be upbeat. But, we're human. Nothing's always and forever perfect. This is why we also have the sad emotion. We have happy, but we also have sad. We have depression. Um, yeah, you're perfectly right. I mean, it's perfectly fine to not be okay, and it's okay to share that, and it's okay to want to talk to people, and it's okay to stay in your box for as long as you need until you feel safe and okay enough to come out. You know, uh, there's just so much going on in this world right now, guys. I mean, all you have to do is watch the news. There's some pretty crazy things going on. I mean, even, in your really small towns, it's like, wow, everybody, all these murders and school shootings, and it's just really bad. And some days, it's hard to have a positive attitude, you know? I mean, in my profession, I get it from all different directions. I get it from the patient, I get it from the family members, I get it from my director of nursing, possibly even the doctor. Um, I'm and my coworkers, I mean, I get shit slung at me from every direction. And I'm telling y'all, it is extremely hard for me to keep my mouth shut and my hands to myself. I mean, it takes all I have some days not to just, walk out of there. And I honestly didn't think I'd go back. But, a lot of nurses experience burnout. Um, and I have talked to a bunch of different nurses, and they understand, A lot of them have been through it. You just don't want to do it no more. I heard the other day there was a shortage of nurses. Well, I don't doubt it. Who wants to, you know, go in there and get mentally and physically abused from all different directions every day that you go to work? Nobody, you know. I mean, it's just a mess. But we do what we do. And I took a break for a while. Hopefully it was long enough and I can, and being in a little bit different field, and I try to do that. Every once in a while I'll switch up because I can go into many, um, I have qualifications to do many different fields, but um, sometimes I have even, it's what I do. Hi, John. Here's an interesting question. Oh boy. If spirits are real, what is the likelihood depression, mental illness is caused by those spirits? John. Well, now that's a wormhole. Uh, I guess it depends on how you look at it. If you look at it from a scientific point of view, um, back in the old days before we had psychiatry and before doctors of all sorts uh, knew what was actually going on and could explain what was going on in the human body, um, people that were uneducated automatically, all they knew was religion. And so therefore, um, everything pertained to God or the gods, depending on what era. Um, if somebody had seizures, had epilepsy, and they started flopping around and, of course they spit up or spit. Well, um, somebody that didn't have any idea or had never seen that condition before would automatically assume they were possessed by a demon, right? But nowadays we know that that's a seizure and they're acting like that for that reason, not because they're possessed per se. But then you have the other people that are saying, well, that person that had that seizure had an entity, has an entity inside of it. You can still have people saying that, but it's scientifically proven it is uh, like a default wire in your brain. That's the best way I know how to explain it. It's like a short in your brain, and it causes seizures. It doesn't have anything to do with possession or anything like that. Have you considered being a therapist? No, I talked to you. Oh, how sweet. Actually, I had thought about it years ago when I was heading to college. I was trying to figure out what my major and minors would be, and I actually majored in psychology with a minor in government and politics. Now, does that not tell y'all how one end of the ladder to the other end I am? I don't know. I don't know. But I had actually thought about that. Uh, I just never finished, to be honest. I never finished school. I couldn't afford to keep going to school. I had young kids and I was single and I couldn't quit working long enough to keep going to school. I couldn't do it and clothe and feed my kids and have a roof over our heads. It wasn't in my cards. Now I've gone back here and there, to the technical schools and got a little bit of extra, what have you. Um, and a lot of times if you do that, a lot of your jobs will give you raises depending, you know, especially in nursing or in the medical field, if you um, have a little bit extra here and there. I don't know. I don't know. But that was sweet of you to say. No, I'll talk to people and, listen to them if they need to talk, or I'll try to, I mean, I realize I'm not available all the time, but anytime anybody, I can't promise you that, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm pretty terse, I guess you could say, straight to the point. It's like, okay, you're depressed, you're upset. What can we do about that? First, let's figure out why you're depressed. Can we change it? Are you depressed because of something that's going on, or are you depressed because it's a chemical imbalance? Those are the first things, questions that need to be answered. Um, if it's a chemical imbalance, they need to get you on a medicine and see how it works for you. I don't know. And you guys, a lot of human interactions is just common sense. You know, um, my first semester in college, I took sociology too. Um, and it's just amazing, how important interaction is with human beings. I mean, yeah, you do have the ones that would rather be by themselves, but it'd be different if they were on an island somewhere, had everything they needed to survive, but never had any sort of other human interaction. I mean, we did all these little experiments. It was pretty fun, actually. I really enjoyed it. And I'll tell y'all, if you read uh, The Lord of the Flies, it's a very old book. That right there is the perfect example of how a society can fall very quickly, especially under a deranged ruler. Um, you have to kind of read it and then apply it to societies, and that's what it is. It's about the bunch of kids that crash this plane. Their plane crashes, and they're all different types of children from different walks of life. Some of them have been in private school. Um, and they crash on this island. Well, the only adult with them was the pilot, and he was killed. So now you've got all these little kids from age 6 to 13 uh, running around this island with no structure. It's very interesting how they come to their own structure, and even how they um, get into their own groups. They split up into two groups because that's just what they do. Because people had different opinions. Some kids wanted to follow this one kid, and the other kids wanted to follow this other kid. So they just split off. And guess what else happened? Because their little society, this is how it's always been, they would have wars against each other over spaces on the island, or where, you were supposed to go to the bathroom. One was very nice and trying to be organized. The other one was just a radical jerk, you know. And seizures are neurological. Yeah, I think the best therapists are the ones. Yeah, yeah. Well, and seizures are medically proven. It's truly something happening in your brain, you know. And we have medicines that can fix that, or don't fix it, but it's bearable to live with. The Lord of the Flies is also a name for Beelzebub. Oh yeah, yeah. But they named this movie that because there's a pig involved, a pig head, and they put it up on top of this stake on the island, and I guess they start worshiping it. Yeah. You just have to read the book. There's also an old film, a black and white film out on it too. I didn't care for the film. I would prefer to have read the book. Yeah. But does it really speak to the kids? No. They're kind of going into their crazy minds. It's not actually talking to them. You just have to read it. I mean, we had to read it in I went to one school, and it was in our English class that we had to do a book report on it. I left that school. The next one that I went to that year, my sophomore year, was doing the same book, so I had to do it all over again. We also did Charlotte's Web, like in the 8th grade, and we did Animal Farm. And then throughout the year in English, in my younger grades, she'd just tell us to pick out a book, whichever one we wanted to do a book report. I hated doing book reports. Didn't like them. I love to read. I was always reading. I always had a book in my hand. You'd see me walking between classes, I'd have a book in my hand. As I got older, if I had any spare time, I was reading. I don't read like I used to. I think a lot of it has to do with my eyes. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, and I get headaches when I read a lot. Now, I do read all my witchy books, but it's not like reading. I mean, I used to sit down, y'all, and pick up a novel. I would start it in the morning while I was waiting on the school bus to get there. I'd read it all the way to school on the school bus, all day long, off and on through school, and I would have that thing finished by the time it was lights out, by the time it was time to go to bed. And I'd start another one the next day. That's how I used to read. I can't even begin to guesstimate how many books I've read in my lifetime so far. Seriously, a lot. I don't know. I need to get back into reading. I really do. But nowadays, I'm always scrolling around on YouTube or, reading or watching videos on the medical channel. And I mean, but I have a lot of books. I got rid of a bunch of them when I moved, but I still probably have about 30 books. Most of them are reference books. But a lot of times I'll go back and refer to them also, It's like with anything else, you've learned it at one time, but if you're not using it all the time, you forget a little bit of it. So I keep them around for just the reference part of it. I just ate my lunch not too long ago. I had a chili dog. I'm really excited about this job, guys. I'm excited about getting on with my life, And I'm trying not to have all them bad thoughts, negative thoughts. It's like, yeah, well, bet you're still in nursing. You know how you're going to be. And I'm the worst, guys. That's why I can tell y'all, don't do it. Try very hard to be positive. And it's not always easy, I know. Believe you me, I know. It's like I said earlier when I finally got home and sat down, I thought, things are starting to look up. It's starting to get better. I'm feeling better. I'm well enough to go back to work, and I'm going to start making a paycheck again. And from there, things will just get better. I can get my own house again and maybe even a new car, you know? You gotta have money to have all that stuff. So, I mean, it is what it is. I just really hope nothing else happens. I hope my health will hold up. It should. I mean, I've been to my doctors. I'm fine. Everything looks good. So, except for getting old and being tired, I'm not able to do everything I used to by no means, but at least I'll be out there again, and um, it's just going to be really good for me. So, uh, I wanted to share that with y'all. Um, I've been talking Hecate's ear off. It's like, please do something. I'm lost here. I don't know, what am I supposed to be doing? Yeah, but you can't pay rent and eat on wisdom, John. You know? I mean, I'll tell you, I truly understand. When people get sick, it's life changing all the way around. You know, it's like you're not sick enough to get any help, but you're too sick to actually um, function to the best of your ability and to work. And it's just not a good thing to have to go through. Yes, I have. Yep. That right there, I had mentioned a spell I wanted to show y'all earlier. That right there is what I want to show y'all. But I didn't want to show you until, you know, I was done with it. Because you're not, when you have an active spell, you're not supposed to show it, for different reasons. But now that it's working, I can say, okay, well, it worked for me, and share it with you. You know, I personally would never do spell work in regard to money, but I would never fault anyone for doing so. Um, yeah, and I'm telling you, the gods and goddesses, it depends on who you talk to. Um, in my opinion, they don't really think too much about that stuff. It they don't care. That's the best way I know how to put it. Um, they they don't understand it. Is the impression I get, because they'll help you, like, your life get a little better, or do whatever. But as far as actually how much money you have coming in, that is always completely up to you. And, action. You have to act. A lot of people think you can cast a spell and sit there on your ass and, everything's going to get done for you. That is not it at all. You have to do the footwork. You have to put in all the rest of it. Um, this door kind of opened up out of nowhere for me, but I had been pleading, and I had applications all over the place. Even, I was even willing to drive, to one that's an hour from here. Um, and they had even said that, if I was hired, that they would give me mileage, you know, extra pay to get there and back. But else right quick, and I didn't want to break down on the highway in the middle of the night. And, these are country roads around here. I mean, in between towns, there's nothing, um, except, I mean, not even some nights, cars. I would just be there. And that makes me nervous. So I was really thankful when this job that I just got emailed me back because it's right here in town. I thought property was money. I was wrong. It can be for actions, open doors. Oh, prosperity, you meant to say? Okay. Open doors for money to flow. Well, and it depends on what prosperity. There's a lot of things that can be considered prosperity, mental stability to me is prosperity. It's moving forward. You're being prosperous. It just depends on how you look at things. That's what I was saying in my earlier videos when I did my little bout about mental health. If you don't take care of that mental health, nothing else is going to work. Your physical body will deteriorate. Your social abilities will deteriorate. It's just kind of like a rolling stone gathering moss. I worship Bilal. His version of helping with prosperity is more along the lines of let me make your life a living hell. Yep. And Hecate is not too far from that. She'll put you through some shit. I like to think, I don't feel like one of them abused stepchildren. I feel like she's harder on me, sometimes. I try to think, well, she knows what she's doing. And there's times I get mad at her. I do. And I'll tell her I'm mad at her. And we talk that out. And she's probably laughing at me the whole time, but at least she's getting a response from me. And she's building up that person she knows I am, that person that'll fight back, that person that'll get in your face and say, no, this is how it is going to be, and blah, blah, blah. And she wants me to gain that momentum back so I can get out there and say, I want this job. I can do this job. I'm going to do this job. I'm healthy. I'm going to remain healthy. I am just fine. Have a better attitude, But yeah, prosperity can mean a ton of things, like having a healthy and happy family. Yeah. That's why we call it prosperity spells. We don't call them money spells per se or love spells per se. Prosperity can be a lot of things combined in one. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful, prosperous day when I get to spend time with my grandkids. When we have a good time and watch a cartoon together or a movie, or we go get ice cream, any amount of time I get to spend with them and watch them grow, to me, that's prosperous. That's a very prosperous day for me. When your mind isn't right, everything else will fall apart. Oh yeah. That's why, on a lot of my videos here lately, I have specified very much, put it out there. You've got to take care of your mental health. You cannot be an effective witch casting spells if you can't even, if your mind's not working. Where does that stuff come from? It's your mind. Your mind creates. And if it's not functioning properly, you're not going to get crap done. I can say that's my opinion, and it is, but it's the truth. That's one reason I have stepped back from my spell work until just recently, because I knew that I was not right in my head enough to try to get in there and throw a spell out there. There's no telling what it would have sounded like by the time it hit the universe. Get an email from the universe. Huh? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. What the hell did you mean by that? Spell work can also degrade your mind. For example, summoning can become dangerous. Oh, yeah. Because some entities are mind breaking by their nature. Yeah, yeah. An example of this would be a cosmic entity beyond human comprehension, seeing that tends to break minds. Well, because we are not, as a human, in this meat sack and with this computer up here, we can't comprehend that sort of thing. Now, if you've been into the paranormal, and I mean the real paranormal, I'm not talking about getting a camera and walking through dilapidated buildings trying to make everybody think that you see a ghost. I'm talking about really being into the spiritual realm. You have to be careful. That's what I always stress. Almost every one of my videos, I will say that. Know what you've summoned. Know what you're dancing with. If you don't, and you don't know how to control it or banish it, don't mess with it. MG, I thought I was the only one who stopped doing spell work because I'm out of balance. Nope, I do too, Candid. Cosmos, I do. If I'm not feeling right, I will not do a spell. I won't even create an oil if I am not of my right mind. They also tell you not to put a hex or curse on someone while you're mad. You know, the elder witches before me have always told me that. Wait till you calm down and see if you still want to do that. Don't just throw a spell out there through an irrational mind, because you don't know what the consequences of that spell is going to be. On the flip side, spell work can improve your mind. An example of this would be meditation. Recontact a plane of relaxation and contentment. Uses yep. I go there almost every night. Best advice ever: don't conjure what you can't get. Oh yeah, that's one of the number one witchy rules. I mean, everybody wants to learn how to summon something, or make something appear, but none of them even think about sending it back where it came from. And maybe you happen to do that very quickly and against its will. Yeah. It's very important to know. I mean, there's all kinds of different banishing spells. Um, uh, what is that one, John? The lesser banishing ritual that is and it's a ritual. I mean, you go through all this stuff, and sometimes you don't have time to do all that. It needs to be gone, and gone now. You don't have time to run and get a book, or draw your circle, or call in the four corners. You don't have time to do all that. So what do? We holler very purposely, intently, and tell them, leave. And if you have your own little chant words, which I do, I don't share those with anyone. But you can make up your own chant, your own what to say if need be. Most of the time I have fun. I have them come in and they hang out with me, and I know they're there, but they don't scare me. They don't mess with stuff. They don't break things. They don't keep me up at night. That's one major rule in my house. Don't make noises all night. I have to sleep because I have to get up and go to work. So y'all can't be moving stuff around, keeping me awake, or you'll have to leave. The Lesser Key of Solomon contains everything one needs to know for all form. Yeah. Well, there's a lesser banishing ritual. I believe that's what it's called. It's actually really pretty ritual. I like watching people do it, but it takes forever. And if something's being hateful to you and you need it gone right now, right then, you don't have time. You don't have time to say all these pretty words and summon your goddess to help you or whatever. Deal with it yourself. You are the witch. You deal with it. You summoned it. You brought it here. You are the one to get rid of it. And that's in my very first videos when I started this channel, I was trying to teach the newer witches coming up because I had so many people asking me questions. So I was going to try to help. I'm not a very good teacher, but that is one thing that I very blatantly said. Summon whatever you want to, but you better know how to get rid of it. Talismans, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. But I've been writing my own spells, and oh my gosh, there is. And you should always write your own spells. I'm telling you, the difference is very noticeable. Because believe it or not, when you're writing that spell, you're creating. Most people don't even think about that. You're saying those words over and over in your head as you're writing those down or as you're inventing that spell. And when you make it your own, it becomes more personal. It helps that spell. You see what I'm saying? Most of us write our own spells. I'd guarantee. I mean, I'm not saying I've never used another witch's spell because I have. And I have given a lot of my spells to other witches to use. But most and generally, we write our own or say our own. I've rattled off stuff that I didn't even know where it came from. In the heat of the moment, just da 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 da. And then you guys, I honestly do not remember a thing I said. It's like, damn, that was a good one. But I can't remember it to write it down. Okay, now make talismans you can burn. Pre-made talisman, banish them on the spot. It's like a pocket spell. See, I've never heard of that. Never heard of a pocket spell, John. The adept journeyman uses their own system of magic. The novice uses that of someone else. The Magnus creates new magicians, witches. Is it possible to summon up your own? Yes, we do it all the time. We do that and not even thinking about it, candid. Yeah, we do that, not even thinking about it. Whenever like when you're casting a spell, think of it this way. When you're sitting there, do you take your deep breaths? Do you do your breathing? When you're getting in that mode, should I say, kind of like a trance, to do your spell work. If you do, that's what you're doing, is summoning up your own energy. You're bringing it up and out. I believe our magic is held in the pit of our stomach. I know. Some people are going to be, what? But that's where I believe it is. I just believe it comes from right there, way deep in there. Some people say it's your mind, and it is, but your mind is only going by what your gut feels. Um, and I say this, and it makes perfect sense because you think of everything else, you know, all these not epithets, these sayings that we use, like, well, it was a gut feeling. Listen to your gut. People are always talking about their gut. Well, I had a gut feeling. Well, what is that? That's the magic. That's the magic trying to tell you, hey, don't do that. Or something ain't right with that person. Or even with mothers, when you just know in your heart and soul, everything within your being, something is wrong with your child, something just happened to your kid. I have felt that. And it's a very horrible, scary feeling because you don't know what it is. You just have that horrible feeling in your gut. Generally, the summing, creation of, and usage of energies, including one's own, falls under what is often called energy. Yeah, novice field, so called because it is essential for advanced works. Yeah. And, when you're teaching someone that, as you call them, novices, that's what you're doing. You're instilling that into them, and before long, as they grow in their craft, then they will automatically, instantly do it without even thinking about it. It just becomes part of who they are. Like me, nowadays, I have been a witch so long that I've forgotten half of all the books and the teachers that I had before me showed me or told me. It's kind of all just who I am. Does that make sense? It's like I was just recreated, and I don't have to remember it up here because it's in me and it's there at my disposal, and it comes out even when I don't necessarily sit down and call it up. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know how to. I hope y'all understand what I'm trying to say. As you get more into the craft, as you grow in the craft, it just becomes second nature. Yes, exactly. When you become more advanced, you can have the same or stronger effects than your earlier spells simply through conscious thought because of your ability. Exactly. I can sit right here and look at something, not say a word, and create. I enjoy going to my altar. I enjoy lighting my candles and my incense. I enjoy that space that I create because to me it's sacred, it's quiet. I leave the mundane world behind and I am now the creator. You see what I mean? I just love that whole atmosphere that I create. Everything around me is what I create. If I didn't create it, it ain't there. Too bad we can't do that in everyday real life, huh? Of course, if we could do that, we wouldn't have our trials and tribulations and our journey. It's part of the journey that we have here on earth. Um, Now, granted, now I do a lot of thinking, guys. Probably overthink, but and a lot of philosophizing. Um, I can honestly think back. We always ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? Well, I'll sit back and I'll figure that shit out. I know why it's happening to me because I made a lot of damn dumb decisions when I was younger that have stayed with me throughout life. Now that I'm older, I can't go back and change those decisions that I made. I've wasted a lot of time I dropped out of college. That's why I don't have the money I want right now because I didn't go on, finish my degree, and get the job I wanted and be making pretty damn good money right now. Because I got married. I decided I needed to get married. Nope. I'm absolutely so happy for the ones that that works for, but with me, it just never did. I don't know. But, I've always been a pretty simple person. I never wanted, you know, the $2 million home and um, all that. I did, however, want a happy family around me, a happy husband, and us both doing jobs that we were good at, that we liked, and made at least enough money to raise our families comfortably, make sure they had clean, good clothes and shoes to wear and good food to eat, a car that would get me back and forth to work without me having to worry about it breaking down, and a house big enough for us all to live in that we were comfortable. I didn't ask for all that crap, major, you know, and I just honestly, I'd have it for a while and then it'd go away. That shit will depress you. It's like, what did I do now? What did I do wrong now? I don't know. I believe you me, I have no idea why life is the way it is at times. All I know is that we have to work together. We have to stick together and help each other up. You know, and especially nowadays and the last several years, everything that's been going on, it's no wonder, that everybody's flipping out. There's just been a lot of negative energy in this world. But you know how to stop that. We each do our part, you know. I'm not saying we're always going to be able to heal everything and everyone because we can't. And that's one thing in the craft you need to understand. Some things are not going to work. And any witch that tells you that every single one of her spells has worked is lying to you. Because I'm telling you, at the risk of sounding my own, I don't want to sound like I'm better than thou and omnipotent, blah, blah, blah. But I'm a damn good witch and I'm good at what I do. And I've had several that didn't come to fruition. But also, a lot of them, I found out later on why they didn't work. Something else was already in play and there was no manipulating it. We can do a lot, but what we also have to understand, we're gods and goddesses in our own rights, but we truly are not better than the true gods and goddesses, okay? Never, never get so high on your horse that you think you can't be knocked off of it, because I assure you, you can. And your very own god or goddess that you walk beside may do it for you, you know? We can all direct our energies together to, yes, we can. Yeah. I call it overruling. Because you know me, John, I have to put things in a human perspective to where they can be understood. You know, when you go to the house and watch them create a law, put a law into effect, um, you have those over here going overruled and I agree and blah, blah, blah. And you have to have so many that vote on it for it to go through, right? I honestly think that a lot of times when all the witches get together and they create such an energy, and even the universe is going, "Whew, okay, okay. I'll give it to you. I'll let you have it." Almost like it kind of feels overwhelmed or overruled. I know that's not the perfect example of a word to use in that situation, but um, it kind of just caves in and says, "Okay, okay, okay, you can have it." Ever have a spell about? Oh yeah, yeah. It's always a trash fire to deal. Yes, I'll tell you. I'm not going to tell you exactly. Well, I don't know how to put this out there to where y'all don't. I have been very angry with people that have really hurt me, both mentally, physically, um, and I did. At the time, I was extremely upset with them, and my I said things out loud, um, and I shouldn't have. But I wasn't even thinking. I was so mad and so upset that I wasn't even thinking about what could happen. I know I'm a witch. I know the universe hears everything I say. And we have to be careful when we put things out there, how it's put out there. I don't know how much plainer I can put that. You have got, like I always tell y'all, when you're casting your spells, you make damn sure that you have everything organized, ready to say. You put it out there. You put it out there exactly the way you want it to happen. Don't leave any room for the universe to take it in a different direction, okay? You're the commander. This is what's going to take place. Don't say and okay, like for instance, I'll just use the money spell. Everybody wants money, so they're going to cast a money spell. And they say, "Okay, I need so and so and so, blah blah blah." Okay, well they don't go in it thinking, "Well, what if one of your parents die and you get that money because you were in um their will, or your brother or your sister or somebody that you dear love?" That may happen, and it has happened, people. You have to word things in specific ways. Um, this is one of the times when I will use no harm be done. Okay, I'm not one of those witches that live by the no harm law, because if I feel it's necessary, I will do it. I try not to, and it's usually a last resort. I just simply don't like hurting people, but it depends on what degree they've hurt me. So it is what it is. But you've got to make sure you put that out there right, or you're going to create all kinds of bad energy and things going on to where you're like, "What did I say?" You know, I'm probably going to have fixing up to move in there. I think my roommate's home and he'll turn this TV on sky high. I don't be able to hear nothing, so I'll take y'all in my room. It's a mess, but we'll go in there. I'm never in there. Um, let's see. Where am I at? I agree with that. I call it the brute force method, where you get somebody skilled. Yeah. Yep. Smack the ether with a big hammer. Yeah. That's true. With never stops learning. I don't. No, we don't. We never stop learning. There's always something going on. Exactly. There's a lot I don't know. And, I never claim to know everything. Put all my spells through my network of entities. They feed on the energies and benefit from the situation. Benefit from being their agent in this regard by gaining. Yeah. Yeah, because that's kind of that's your offering to them, you know? Spiritual warfare is an entire field of magic. I highly recommend learning about it from your patrons and me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. It involves both painful workings and defense against the dark arts. Yeah. Um, I think it's really funny when you know, I'll hear a certain witch that's on the left-hand path. Um, they'll say, "Well, I'll just do this," and she'll wish she hadn't done that or whatever, and I'm like, first of all, you don't know what that other witch that you're putting that spell on, you don't know who her entities are. Um, I don't know how to explain it. I think a lot of times they just get together and they laugh and say, "Okay, we're just gonna stay neutral and let them fight it out, um, on their own terms." I guess that wasn't him pulling up. I thought it was the truck. So we'll plug this back in. Um, Harry Potter Esquire duels can and will emerge. Harry Potter. It's funny because you watch a lot of these witch shows or these magical shows or however you want to clarify them or uh, tell about them. Uh, a lot of them, you can tell that whoever wrote them has done their research. Um, because a lot of them actually do things that we real witches do. And, it's like everybody do it casting their circles. You'd be surprised how many different ways different witches cast circles. I mean, you'd think it's, a one, and it is the same concept, but I guarantee you, a lot of them do it in different ways. I mean, I have always, if I'm going to cast a circle, I'll always start in the east. That's the way I was taught. That's what is second nature to me, and I will start in the east. Okay. I've had witches tell me that they start in the south. That makes no sense to me. But I'm not going to sit there and tell that witch it won't work because evidently it has worked for her, or they could have just been, talking out their ass too. I don't know. You always start in the west. What do you mean by that? Like rock, cover, scissors, are we playing rock, paper, scissors here? What do you mean by that? Okay, well, fire's south. So if you go fire, water, earth, air, then you'll go south, west, north, east. And then, of course, spirit. I don't know. I always start in the east. I always have, and I always will. Ideally, you have one witch on each direction with one element. Oh, see, no, I haven't ever. I'm not a group witch. I guess you could say. I've worked with other witches, but we didn't cast a circle. And they come together to form spirit. That's where the entity stands. Yeah. Yeah, or after I've cast my circle, then I'll call, per se, Hecate. I'll call her in. But it's usually just me. I don't allow that's my private area. Um, I don't do spells with other witches that involves a circle necessarily. Now I've done a lot of rituals, but if I personally am casting my specific spell for what I need, nobody else hears me, sees me, comes near me. If I don't have other witches, I will use spirits to stand in for them. This requires a ton of spirit work. Oh, see, I have never done it like that, John. For example, I will contact my page or manager and have them assign the spirits. Oh, see, I don't do all that. I comprise my own circle, and the only other heads up, guys. My beautiful, wonderful mother, she's busy, okay? She's always doing something. And one of her main things she does is she leads the dead around from point A to point B, or watching over them, taking care of them, whatever she's doing, she usually always has other spirits with her. So people say, well, you need to make sure she doesn't bring them in. I'm not about to tell her she can't do anything. When people have told me that, I look at like, are you crazy? I am not about to tell Hecate what she can and cannot do. She knows. Number one, if I'm calling on her, she's not going to, bring a spirit in there she thinks would harm me. You know, she's there to watch over my spell or my work and aid me if necessary. Um, she doesn't tell me what to do. She just kind of stands there, making sure no negative energies get in. I can see her doing it. I know that sounds weird, guys, but I can literally that is such an awesome feeling when I summon her and I can feel her. I know she's there. There's no doubt in my mind. I can feel her looking at me. And like I'll turn because I think she's to my right. I'll turn and then I'll feel eyes staring in the back of my head. It's like I never can put my finger on her. She's everywhere. But I'm not about to tell her she can't bring whatever she wants with her. Um, she knows, that I'm doing a spell or whatever I'm doing. I need to get a life. I've spent at least 100,000 hours doing. Oh yeah. Well, that is a life, John. That's your life. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love going in there and lighting my altar all up. When I had my room, my whole big, huge room at my last house, that's what it was my witchy room, my altar room. It had all my stuff in it. I absolutely loved going in there and sitting. Sometimes I'd just go in there to her altar, I'd light a candle. I wouldn't even say anything. I'd just sit there. And it just filled me full of peace, you know? It kept my sanity. I just loved it. Everything's not in perfect order as far as everything I would normally put on an altar, but I can make a smaller one, you know, and just sit with it for a while. Plus, I need to say thank you. Y'all remember whenever you put these spells out there, and I know there's times that it may take a while for them to work, or to actually pan out. Um, you have to understand when you're casting something like that, you know, you're manipulating energies, which means you're moving things around. And sometimes it takes a while depending on what you're asking for. So more than likely it's not going to happen overnight. You have to be patient. It'll happen when it's time, when it's ready. So just try to remember that and be patient with it. Um, I know I've lost my patience several times, but when things do go and your spells do work out and things are going better for you, please remember whatever entity you called on, God or goddess, whatever. Um, thank them. You know, give them an offering, whatever you think they'd like. It don't matter what it is. Um, acknowledge and be appreciative of their help. Um, to me, that's just the right thing to do. Um, and you may need their help again sometime. Um, you can form a relationship with certain ones that way. Now, with me, usually I don't work with anyone else but Hecate. I don't find a need to. There are certain times of the year that I'll work with different goddesses. I can't think of any gods that I work with. In fact, I don't. I don't work. There's no gods I work with. Um, I have worked with Lucifer uh, a couple of times, but on a regular basis, it's mainly just women, and it's not because I don't believe in the males or what have you. What it boils down to with me is I just relate better to the female goddesses. You know, Bastet, I use her, or you know, call on her for my cats. Um, so I do use different ones. The Morgon, I use her during springtime months around here when the storms are coming around. I'll talk to her a lot this time of year. um, because to me, I think of her with storms. I don't know why. Maybe she is, maybe she's not, but that's how I've always seen her. Um, the one who guides storms. But it is what it is. You use and do whatever you want. And just always say thank you. I hope you still have all your witchy things, and yeah, be patient. Try. Yeah, I do still have them. I have a bunch of them in here. They're just still all in boxes, and I have been in such a mental mess of a wreck that I just haven't. I just don't really like taking. I'm one of those neat freaks, and I think everything has to be in perfect order. So to be honest, I just haven't gotten them out. But I'm going to. I'm going to get a few things out and get some stuff done. I have a laundry list about a mile long of entities that I work with. Male or female affiliation comes to lunar and solar from a spiritual perspective. Lunar is feminine, solar is masculine. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, most of your sun gods, well, and most everything too has a excuse me, has a counterpart. Most of your male, you'll hear of a male sun god, and then you'll hear of a goddess. To me, I don't know, I just don't uh put a whole lot of stock in all that. I mean, I just call on who I want. Boone is another one, especially a duke. Supposedly a duke, but lunar energy. Oh yeah, I've never heard of Boone. Is he I, what pantheon is he in, or is he your heart is your best altar? That's true. I'm visual and I like setting up pretty things and smelling all the pretty smells and looking at my candles, and it gives me a certain peace. But it's okay, my altar isn't up. I just took it down for now. Yeah. Yeah, and it's even harder, um, Jenny, when, you're staying with other people, and that stuff is pretty private. I do have my own room. He don't ever come in my room, so it's not like he would bother anything. That's not what I'm saying. It's just your concentration isn't there, you know? Boone is goetic. Okay. Okay. Comes from King Solomon in his lesser key. Huh. So he's a god, not um, of the left hand path, or a demon, or I guess you know what I'm trying to ask. I that name kind of sounds familiar, like I've heard it before, but I mean, there's no telling. I talked to so many witches and watched so much stuff and have read so many books. There's no telling where I heard it from. Yeah, okay. A lot of times I'll say the demonic realm, which to me that's the left hand path. That's Lucifer and Belial and Asmodeus and all them, all the above. Yeah, yeah. Um, I can't remember what I was watching the other day that oh, it was some documentary on YouTube about Solomon. Something about, when he went down and he summoned all the demons and named them. I don't believe that because I just think the demons had their name as when they were angels. They had the same name. Um, and when they were part of the Watchers, you know, and then went from Watchers to where they are now. Asmodeus is the man. I love that guy, but holy crap. Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people that are on the left-hand path. He's pretty out there. Yeah. Solomon, I just don't understand that man. Uh, he honestly thought as a human being he could have, um, I don't even know how he supposedly came about doing that. Some people have said that uh, God gave him the power and the right to do that, um, or something. I don't remember how it all went. Something when it was one of their curses from God was that they would be ruled by man, that they would have to appear. That's why even a priest, anybody that's doing an exorcism, will make that demon say their name if they feel like someone's possessed. So, and that demon supposedly has to tell you their name if you ask. I heard not all demons like humans. Yeah, that's right. Some of them don't like humans at all, and they're the ones that will come in your life and just do nothing but wreak havoc. But those are the the lesser ones, the lower class of demons. We're talking about the ancient gods, the ones that were one point angels, like Asmodeus and Belial and Lucifer, um, Beelzebub. You know, those are just a few I can think of right off the top of my head right now. But um, yeah, a lot of them don't. They'll come up to meet you just so they can literally consume you. That's their only goal, is to just tear you to shreds. That's another thing, if you're not used to the left-hand path, if you're not used to summoning demons and you don't know what you're doing, please don't do that. I mean, the hierarchy, like Asmodeus and Belial and them, they probably will just ignore you anyway. You know, you have to say certain things or certain rituals a lot of times that you have to perform. They have to damn well know that you're very serious and you know what you're wanting and who you're wanting to talk to. You've done your research, or they just want wasting time on you. Now, these little imps, as I like to call them, you know, they'll hear you and they'll show because they want in on that action. What, bubbers? Beware, because some demons masquerade, and yeah, that's what I was telling her. All angels are friendly, not all fae are friendly. No, the fae can be extremely hateful. Yes, they sure can. If it's a demon, you can bind and control them with faith. If it is a god, then you cannot do anything at all to stop them. That's right. That's right. Ancient gods are busy people. You got to make it exactly. Yep. That's why, I don't normally ever, if I'm doing a ritual, I always have some sort of offering. Even if you don't have money, if you don't have anything at all but an incense stick, you can learn all kinds of things about that deity. Do your research before you want to summon them, before you want to work with them. Let them know that you're interested enough in working with them that you're doing your research, that you know what their favorite incense might be, or what their favorite stone is, or their favorite herb. What are their colors? The demons, uh, or the daemon, have colors. Lucifer's is red, and Lucifer loves sandalwood. Dictionary Infernal Naos, the Black Book. Oh yeah. What witchy books do you like to read? Oh, Jenny, I read a lot of them. Uh, I have ritual books. I have history books. I have fictional books. Even the books that I read for entertainment, a lot of times it's about witches. Beware of imitations. Yep, that's right. Because a lot of them will step in there and try to fool you. And then before you know it, you've made a deal with them. That's the same as conjuring anything. You'll have people that do these seances. Well, what they don't understand is they're walking, you know, uh, into the spirit realm. Everything can hear them. You're like on a loudspeaker. So they may tell you, yeah, I'm so and so, or I'm your dad, or I'm your mom that you want to talk to. And unless you can tell the difference, you could be in trouble. Start with the Lesser Key of Solomon. Yeah, I have that book. I've read it. I just, to me, I don't know. It's the best foundation level knowledge on defense against the dark arts and lesser entities. If you master that book, you're in depth in all things. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Of course, I don't deal in that realm. You know, I have thought about it, and I have dealt with Lucifer a lot. Sure have. Not everything, but yeah, I know what you mean. In general, it will teach you else. Yeah, yeah. There's like 30 versions of the Lesser Key. Yeah, and that's the whole point. And it's like the necro. I just went blank. The Necronomicon. Did I say that right? Necro. You know what I'm talking about. The Book of the Dead. Um, a lot of people buy these knockoffs off of eBay, YouTube, or Amazon, or whatever. Um, what they don't realize is there probably is some truth to whatever's in that book, that it's probably not the original or even a copy of the original. It's probably something that somebody else has redone, or you got to be careful with that stuff. Yeah, so I did say it right. You've seen that, John. You know how it is. You're on here a lot with me. My brain, I tell you, it's an ancient Egyptian tome that lost to time. If you could find the original and prove it, you would have billion. Oh yeah, yeah. You hear stories about it all the time, that the original was actually made of human skin, and it had veins that, I mean, it actually circulated blood through it, because it had veins and what have you. Of course, we all know that that's probably not the truth, but um, it was definitely made out of a whole different material. Nobody's ever been able to come to an agreement on what that was. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you actually ran across the original, I think the original has disintegrated. Okay, because once again, use common thought. If it's made out of any type of skin, after a while, especially with no treatment on it, no, and it could be kept somewhere. I don't know where it would be that somebody nowadays, you know, if it's still all together and hasn't disintegrated. Um, I can imagine anyone being able to keep that quiet the way this day and age is. Even the Knights Templar, I'm sure that they've started up other, throughout the centuries, that there's been other, um, what word am I trying to use? They call them something different nowadays. Chapters, not chapters, but clubs, I guess you could say. Um, And I do believe a lot of that knowledge has been passed down through generations of the Masons and whatever the Templars call themselves nowadays. I don't know. I have my own little ideas. Some of them make sense to others, some of them don't. But it's really interesting to discuss, to talk about. And I love hearing other people's ideas, you know. Uh, before my funds stopped coming in, I there's a lot of books that I have in my cart uh, on Amazon that I wanted to get. I just simply ran out of money. um, and I actually wanted to get the Necronomicon, but I want to get the true old one, the copies that are as close to the original as I can get. And we don't really know, you know, unless you've seen the original, which I don't think I know none of us have. I would bet anything in the world on it. Um, it's interesting to think about it though. I mean, I don't know. But anywho, I guess I'll go, y'all. I realize I've been on here almost 2 hours, but I love talking to you guys. Um, a lot of times I'll come on in the afternoons now because I have a lot of my witches actually have lives during the day and they have to sleep at night. So, uh, but yeah, hopefully before long I will be at a spot that I can start ordering uh, some of these books. Or my ex-boyfriend actually ordered me the Book of Enoch that I was talking about, and I mean, he ordered it last January, and at the end of last month, we were like, well, I don't guess it's going to show up. It'd say, well, it was on its way and it would be here and it was there. And then before you know it, it was sent with a different carrier somewhere else. So I just told him just forget about it, to cancel it if he could. And I just never have gotten it. But I really wanted that book. I was looking forward to that book. I did a video and I told y'all when I got it, we were going to discuss it. But I'll just have to try to order maybe a different one or one from a different place. But the one I ordered, I really liked the cover of it. I liked the way it looked. I was not spending time here. I have a cried not to. You too, Jenny, and uh, I'll probably come on here later this evening to share that spell. I'm gonna try real hard. Um, I may need a nap. I'm kind of tired. I've been up. I had a very stressful, busy day, so I may need a nap and get all my stuff together and try to come back on here and share it with you guys. It worked for me, as you can see. Um, but once again, with any spell that you do to gain momentum, I'll just put it that way, you have to do the work. You have to put the work into it. And sometimes it'll be the hardest work you've ever done, but it's worth it. It's worth it in the long run when you achieve those goals. And it's just amazing how proud of yourself you feel because you know you did the work. you know. But blessed be, I'm glad that y'all were here to visit with me. And I will try really hard to come back on this evening and share that prosperity spell with you. Okay? We'll talk to y'all later.